Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Educate, enlighten, entertain, mindfulness. And today we're going to talk about a subject that many people are not talking about as much as they were when it first happened. And in fact, I had a listener email me asking, well, is he still considered one? And I wrote back and said, still considered what? And who are we talking about? And the person who replied said, the current president. He was convicted of being a felon. Well, is he still a felon? That's what we want to know. Excuse me, my wife and I. So I did a little bit of investigating and I came across this article found in USA Today. And the question was asked within the article itself on May 30th, 2025, written by Kinsey Crowley, Crowley. A year after his felony conviction, is the current president still a felon? And these are some of the key points that AI has brought up within that article. 1, he was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records, making history. 2, he received an unconditional discharge, meaning no prison term or time or probation, and his 2 federal cases were dropped. 3, the Georgia election racketeering case is uncertain after the district attorney's disqualification. And 4, he is appealing his New York hush money case conviction. However, the current president was found guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records 1 year ago on May 30th, making him the first former president to be convicted of a crime. A few months later, he would become the first president-elect with a criminal conviction. On his way to the White House, his legal troubles included 2 federal indictments and a Georgia election racketeering case took a back seat. In the hush money case, where he was found guilty, he received an unconditional discharge sentence, which meant he received no prison time or probation. The 2 federal cases were dropped in accordance with a long-standing Department of Justice policy not to prosecute a sitting president. And in the Georgia case, hit significant delays when a state appeals court disqualified the district attorney. How convenient. But, well, he may be not facing legal consequences while leading the country. That doesn't mean his criminal record has disappeared. So what was he charged with? He was charged in 4 cases, but only one went to trial and resulted in a conviction. In the New York case that led to his criminal conviction, he was charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records. The prosecutors argued that he disguised reimbursements for a $130,000 hush money payment for porn star Stormy Daniels as legal expenses ahead of the 2016 election. In 2 federal cases that were dismissed after his reelection, he was indicted for allegedly conspiring to overturn the 2020 election and for allegedly mishandling classified documents after he left the White House. Both charges have since been dropped, and special counsel Jack Smith has resigned. Isn't that fortunate? He was also indicted in an election racketeering case in Georgia. He is one of 15 defendants in the case who have not already pleaded guilty. But the case future is uncertain after Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis's disqualification. If she remains off the case after further appeal, it would need to be reassigned to move forward to trial, the experts told us at USA Today. So you're wondering, when will he ever be sentenced? His sentencing for criminal conviction in the hush money case occurred on January 10th, 2025. Sentencing meaning he received no prison time or probation. Judge Juan Merkin wished him Godspeed on his second presidency. Well, then was he convicted a felon? Yes, though calling someone a felon is considered outdated language. His felony conviction has yet not been erased through appeal or by expungement. Has he appealed his 34 felonies? Oh, yes. He's trying to move his criminal case from state to federal court, ABC News has reported, and an appeals court is set to hear arguments on June 11th, which is already passed. So thank you very much for joining us and listening to the question of whether our sitting president is indeed a felon. You have to decide. However, I will leave this with you as my opinion is that he will buy his way out either with threats, being a bully, or simply placing money on the table and saying it's a reimbursement for some activity that these people have done for him before he became president of the United States. A leopard doesn't change his spots. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon on Historical Lest We Forget. Is our sitting president a felon? Your choice, your decision. This program is sponsored by Ruby.ai. Check us out at aiwithlillian.com. It will take you to Ruby.ai, in which you'll find a plethora of testimonials about how wonderful Ruby is, and also a demonstration of how the program works. And you might as well, please, sign up for a monthly subscription, because your subscription will make a difference in your life and the world around you. Try it. You might like it. And by Conscious Research Solutions. And you can find us at passionateworldtalkradio.com/Research Made Simple blog. And there will answer all your questions about research pain that you've always dreamed about, had nightmares on, or you always were wanting to know. And please sign up for a 15-minute free consultation with us over at Passionate World Talk Radio, and learned all the reasons how we can help you get that material and information you've been longing to get all this time, but weren't quite sure of how to go about doing it. Might as well be a labyrinth as far as you're concerned. And if you want to keep the only all-female owned and operated internet talk radio station online, go over to passionateworldtalkradio.com/donations for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you to listening to some awesome, forward-thinking, and providing resources that nobody else has. And that of itself will make your day golden. Have a wonderful weekend.